I have muted myself, sir, because I've started the stream.
Okay. Hello.
Hello and welcome to you all. My name is Vishal, and this is our cohort number 5 for the strategy compass. We discuss strategies. We discuss how you, as an organization, you can build yourself, make sure your strategies are getting. Give me just one moment.
Cohort number 5.
Okay, I'm just making sure that I'm audible on our stream, just to make sure that working that we're audible on our stream, and it seems everything is fine. And what are we doing in this cohort? We are actually studying the best practices in the industry, whereas we know that over 80% of new business they falter in their first 3 years. What happens is that the strategy, where it looks very good and very beautiful on the paper, unfortunately it does not go very well at the time of execution. So how, as an organization, you can have your strategy mapped to action, and then get monitored and controlled as well. So these are those sessions wherein we would be working on them. We will be discussing on them. Now, I will not be doing this alone. We have with us Mr. Gopal, and he is an award-winning management practitioner for nearly more than 3 decades. Perhaps I could say 4 decades. He's a MBA, and he is from one of the premier institutes of India. He has graduated as a mechanical engineer, and we are in discussion with each other. He is in India, and I'm in the sunny Abu Dhabi, wherein, or Dubai for that matter, and wherein we came together to take these pearls of wisdom from him and discuss this over online, and so that we can share our knowledge in compliance or in line with the mission, vision, and values of the book club. So I would be bringing him in a couple of seconds, so you can. Here we go. Here you go, Mr. Gopal. You're live, and welcome again.
All right. Thank you, Vishal. And good morning to everyone. And just to recall that last week's session, we started looking at the reasons for failure of any business. And we identified certain factors that why the most of the business, or rather I would say more than 80% of the businesses, fail within first 3 years of their inception. And we left it there because of paucity of time. And today we are going to answer the critical question that if 80% of the businesses fail, then what can be done to avoid this failure? So I'll just quickly, in 1 minute, I'll try to see that all the screens or all the slides are covered. And we found those 6 major reasons for, why somebody starts a business as an entrepreneur. And then we looked at the reasons for poor organizational performance, and there were 7 most common reasons we looked at. And then we went into further details, and out of these 7 reasons, majority of them, at least 6 of them, are actually attributable to lack of well-planned strategy or strategy execution capability. So then the question was that what poor strategy management leads to. So it's basically a failure, missing the targets, and loss of market share, poor financial performance, damaged reputation, and lost opportunities for growth and expansion. So, and further, we looked at some of the factors which aggravate the situation. That latent business value is not taken into consideration. Only 5% actually understand the strategy. 85% of the owners, they spend less than few hours in a month on strategy or discussing the strategy. Traditional reporting management system is only looking at the results. They don't look at the enablers which lead to the results. Focus is only on doing things right, and rather than doing the right thing. So focus is on operation, not on a strategy. It's always target-driven operations, and control and compliance-driven business rather than mission and customer-driven. So once the business takes off, it is more on compliance and control basis. The business is operated by the business owners or the leadership team. So then this is where we will start now. So the question is, what can be done for having a thriving business instead of just surviving? So if you look at the previous slides, the question was actually obvious, and the answer also is obvious, because if out of those 7 reasons, 6 are related to strategy, then we need to focus on strategy. So the answer is to have a medium to long-term strategy, which is well documented, and execute that strategy diligently. Spend enough time on strategy, developing the strategy, make a robust strategy based on your external environment and internal environment. That means business conditions and market conditions and your internal capabilities, and then execute that strategy diligently. So that is what the solution is. So now, if the tangible assets are more than 75% of value, then the organization's strategy formulation and execution need to be explicitly address the mobilization and alignment of intangible assets. The tangibles, if you look at tangible assets are your infrastructure, your resources, which has a physical existence. And these will include your raw material, your infrastructure, your machineries, your all those kind of things which can be bought. And then intangible assets, which actually are working in the background. These are typically patents, systems and processes, your capabilities, your human resources, quality of leadership. All these are called as intangible assets. So if you look at the normal accounting or balance sheet statements and accounting statements, they focus only on tangible assets. What can be actually given a value and can be physically verified, those things are only included in the balance sheet. But these intangible assets, they do not appear actually in your financial statements, and these are missed out. And as you all you will appreciate that intangible assets actually are getting you the business and satisfying your customer requirements and then making money for you. Only tangible assets are only the means, right? So let's take an example. I'm taking a very simple example to provide you an idea or a kind of a simple framework that can be used for strategy implementation. So let's take an example of a very small fast food type of restaurant, and they have a current turnover of, let's say, 5 crores and 10% with a 10% profit margin. They have maybe few branches in one single city, and overall they are making 5 crores revenue and 10% profit margin, and they want to double in next 5 years. So they want to have a turnover of 10 crores and margin of 15%. That is what their aspiration or vision is. So to achieve this vision, management starts tracking daily sales and costs. So if they start tracking only daily sales and costs, will it help them? So the answer is actually no. Just tracking your data doesn't help you. You need to act on those data and then find ways of increasing or improving your performance. So what they need to do is definitely they need to sell more for increasing their revenue, and then reduce the cost for improving their profit margin. So that's a common sense. But how they are going to do it? They need to attract new customers, and then they also need to retain existing customers. So you retain existing customers, get new customers, and that's how you can improve your revenue, right? And they need to be more efficient if they want to improve their profit margin from 10% to 15%.
So
I
I
hope
just
you are
want,
with me. Yeah.
yeah, I just want to add something here, sir.
Yes.
One, that we are not promoting fast food on a lighter note.
Yeah, okay. No, I initially I said that I am just talking about, I'm taking it as an example.
I just want to clarify. Second is that usually when we talk about tracking and all, uh, I have a feeling that once the dashboards are up of any process for that matter, these dashboard, instead of being the mode of monitoring, control and improvement, they actually only become a one sheet or a view to the people who are looking at it, to just put extra pressure on people rather than leading the way. Now, how does strategy management actually, because yeah, that dashboard is showing you if it is aligned to your strategy objectives, and if it is giving those objectives a number and you're able to track it, but the dashboard does not tell you the how part of it, how you're going to reach over there. I think that is a place where the death by dashboard comes in place, where people are not able to cope up with it. Oh, the number was 200 last week, it should be 500 now, but it never tells how. I think there is where the people who are tracking these dashboards, and of course who are leading the people, they need to come and brainstorm and get things in the perspective, or in the right place.
Okay. That's a right valid point actually, and the answer to this is very simple. Actually, you need to ask why first. Why you are doing what you're doing? Okay. So if you are tracking your performance, or you are taking a stock of situation every month, why you are doing it? So that's the first question. So if you are just tracking just to put a record and just to show it to your boss, then it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't help you in any way. But then if you are tracking because you want to improve and your why is very strong, then you will go to how. So the sequence normally is what, why, how. What am I doing? Why I am doing? And then you know why you are doing and why it is important for you. Then you will look at how.
So
So
more or less
you,
go back to your mission, vision and value statement.
yes, yes. So you why, what, why, and how. That's how it is. How is the last part. If you clear first two, then you go to how. So then you are convinced that, I need to work on that. If I want to improve my business, then I need to do something. Then you start searching the answers, and that answers are for your how. All right. So this is same I'm looking at is what I want to achieve, why I want to achieve. So that why I am not covering, he might be having ambition, or maybe next generation has come up and they're not happy with what their parents have been doing or father has been doing. So now that is why. And now the question is how. Right? So you actually touched a very valid point. So the how, you don't directly go to how. You need to have a reason for it. And before that reason, you need to have the what. Okay. So this is what is how part is the strategy. And if you look at the last three statements, they need to attract new customer. It's kind of a strategy that I need to have new customers. And then I need to retain my existing customer, and I need to be efficient. So these are the three broad level, high level strategies. They come to your mind when you look at a small business setup. So and it is a common sense. It's not like, big management fund or anything. Anybody can think of these three strategies in such a small setup, right? So we move on. So what I'm going to do is further questions, probing questions. These are all how part of it. So how are they going to do it? They need to ask customers, obviously, what makes them to come again and what will satisfy or delight them, so that they are not only loyal, but they also recommend to others. So what I want is, I want my customers to have kind of a publicity for me by word of mouth. And their answer is why they keep coming. They love consistent, good quality food and great service. So you know why these customers are loyal to your restaurant. And then you further probe and say that what is the meaning of great service? It's quick food delivery with a smile. Right? I'm just taking a simple example, okay, and it's all made up. So this is the actual way you develop a strategy, actually. You ask questions. And how to deliver great service? Further probing question. And it is make the food serving process more efficient, and you need to train the staff. And how you're going to do it? Recruit good staff to start with, train them on food serving process, and create a climate to make them happy and cheerful. Right? So now I'm working on my strategies. You're asking your customer what makes them happy and delighted. Then you note it down. Then you further probe into other aspects of your operations, and then you come up with the answers. And that actually becomes your strategy. So now what I'm going to do is I'll try to make a graphical representation, or I would say cause and effect map of this whole thought process, right? So I hope so far you're with me. And if you have any question, probably you can ask the question, or you can type it in the chat box.
Yeah, I was just about to say that we welcome your questions. We have people joining on Zoom. If you have any question on Zoom, you can simply unmute yourself and ask a question. If there are people, I see that we are live on LinkedIn, YouTube, and I think we are not on Facebook, but we are at least on LinkedIn. My page, we are already live, so you're more than welcome to type in your questions on the comment box, and we will be more than happy to help you out. Let's make the most out of the knowledge that we are getting, the pearls of wisdom that we are getting from an industry stalwart. Thank you.
Okay. So the whole previous two slides, we'll try to make a graphical representation or cause and effect map of the full thought process. And let's see, we'll start with the map. Okay. So what I do is I start from the bottom. Okay. So what I need to do is at action level is train the servers and have the right kind of a work environment. This is for my employees to be really productive and improve the food delivery. So once I have trained my servers and then the work environment is improved, then it will improve my food delivery process. And improving my food delivery process, because I ask the customers what actually prompts them to keep coming to the restaurant. So my customers get satisfied, and once my customers are satisfied, I'm able to retain my existing customers, and then through word of mouth publicity, I'm able to acquire new customers. And if I acquire new customers and retain existing customers, that will improve my sales, and that also will improve my revenue, and it will improve my profits. So this is simple cause and effect map, I call it, that if I take care of my employees, I have the right work environment, I train them properly in what they are doing or what they for the customers, that will help me in improving my process of food delivery, that will increase the customer satisfaction for me, which will help me in retaining existing customers and getting new customers. That will improve my sales, which will improve my revenue and my profits. I'm not touching at the profit part at this point of time. This is the volume of profit I'm talking about. But if you're talking about margin, profit margin, then we will have another cause and effect map. We'll try to find out what could be done to improve the profit margin. Maybe if, and we saw actually in the previous slide that, okay, we need to be more efficient. So then you will work on how can you be more efficient as a restaurant business. So you might have another similar parallel cause and effect map for improving the efficiency, right? It's a simple logical way of thinking that how I'm going to improve my performance, whether in terms of increasing the volume or increasing the profit margin, right? So what if I have this cause and effect map and I know how I'm going to improve my revenue, then I need to measure, because how will I know if I'm not tracking at every stage, right? So most of you are coming from engineering background. You know that there are lead and lag measures, right? So I need to have my lag measures, which will show me that, okay, where I'm going to reach. So these lag measures I'll be looking at those four perspectives. Looking at this, what I'm going to do is I will name these four sections of the map. So this is called learning and growth perspective, which is actually related to developing my capabilities and having the right kind of work environment. And the next one, I call it as internal perspective, because it addresses my internal systems and processes and improve them. And the third one is customer perspective, because here I'm looking at my customer data and looking at my customers' performance indicators. So I call it that as first customer perspective. And at the top, I have financial perspective, where I'm tracking my financial performance indicators. So this is what I will call them. I'm just grouping them in four different groups because they belong to four different, I would say, stakeholders or the attributes of any business. So I have learning and growth perspective at the bottom, internal perspective, then customer perspective, and financial perspective. And then I'll start identifying how I'm going to measure the performance. So learning and growth perspective, I will look at how many servers I am able to train or I have trained, how many training man-hours I have spent, and whether my employees are satisfied. So I will track my employee satisfaction score, right? So this will give me an indication about whether my servers are really happy and whether they are really doing their job well. Internal perspective, I will look at the cycle time, that order to delivery, how much time I am spending, because the customer, they identified quick food delivery as one of their, let's say, satisfying attributes of the restaurant. I'm just taking few examples. You might have few more, depending on the complexity of the operations. and the business. And then in my customer perspective, I will look at customer shares, how much, market share, how many new customers I have acquired, how many are my repeat customers in terms of percentage or absolute numbers. And I'm also tracking my customer satisfaction level. So I have a customer satisfaction index, which gives me an idea that how my customers are satisfied and what is the score for customer satisfaction index. So this is my customer perspective. Then financial perspective, I will track my financial performance, which will be at least turnover and margin. You might have other financial indicators which gives you look at the health of your business, but at least turnover and margin, that is what my initially my objectives were. So I'll track my turnover and margin. So if you look at cause and effect map, it is a map and we call it as a strategy map. And you will appreciate the fact that if you look at this map, it tells you really the strategy of this restaurant business. Right or wrong?
Correct.
So I need, right? So I need to train my staff. I need to have right work environment so that my food delivery process is improved, so that my customers are satisfied and I'm able to retain those customers and acquire new customers. That will improve my sales, that will improve my revenues and profit. It's a simple thing. So
Now,
everybody, even a layman or even a junior person in the organization can understand this simple logic of this map.
and that is what is all about this book club. We are breaking down the quite obvious. We're cutting through the very complex wording, lingos of management, and bringing it down to a very layman, easy to understand processes, easy to understand strategies, and easy to implement as well. Now, there's one observation that I have over here, sir. Not an observation, rather. I just want to say that there is an fast food restaurant out there. We don't want to endorse anybody out there in the first place. And once we go over there into this restaurant, what they do is let's observe these people at times. So what they do at the cash register, they register the moment you give your order. From the cash register, the display, your order goes to the cooking area. That's a display over there. They have over there in the display itself, they can see what kind of food you have ordered. And even for the food, they have standardized everything. They have standardized what would be the patty size. They have standardized what would be the bun size. They have standardized what will go in their into their burger. And because of this, what is happening is they are able to cut through and ignore, or let's say overcome, the if nots and buts of the thing of the food delivery process. I'm talking about internal perspective, where we are improving the food delivery process from the bottom second line. So because of this, they are able to do a lot of improvement, and they are able to bring in a great. We are getting a lot of loves and claps on LinkedIn, sir. So they are able to deliver a very fast process, a very fast food, and of course that's the reason it's called fast food in the first place. It is because of SLM. Let me put it this way: they have assembly lined the food delivery process. That is what has given them clarity. That is what has given them ways to measure the quality as well. So you can. It's the symbol of this restaurant is a big M. Whenever you go, just observe them how they have assembly lined the whole process.
Yes, that is right. And I will add to this because we don't have too much time for discussion unless everybody is there. I have no problem with that. Just to add to this, because all depends on your business objective or your let's say, customer value proposition. I'm just introducing a new word. It's called customer value proposition. So if you're looking at McDonald's, it's entirely different. And if you're going to a 5-star or Michelin star restaurant, it's entirely different thing. So it all depends, and that comes before you actually plan your strategy. What kind of business you're going to start? Are you going to, of course, in this case, we have already, I clarified in the beginning, it's a fast food kind of a restaurant, right? So whatever you're saying, it perfectly makes sense, but it's not always the case. It depends on the restaurant. So the customer, what kind of customers you're going to serve? So McDonald's is entirely has a different client base, or it depends on the situation. Same customer or same person might be going to a 5-star restaurant at times, and he might be also going to McDonald's, but he doesn't expect the treatment he gets in 5 stars in McDonald's, obviously, and he's not
Quite
willing
right.
to wait.
Quite right.
Right. So it all depends on what is your business objective, what is your value proposition for your customer, what you're going to deliver, what you're going to sell. So in a McDonald's, you are not selling experience. In a 5-star restaurant, you are selling experience more than anything else.
Yeah, the ambience, the respect that you get.
Yes, everything. It's overall, it's an experience. That it's the food quality, it's the way they serve you, the kind of people serve you, the ambience, all those kind of things. So the presentation of the food itself, so many things, right? So because I just want to introduce the balance scorecard. There are a lot of things go into before you come to this stage. And that is all we are talking about, strategy development. When you are developing the strategy, obviously, it's a common sense. You need to decide, okay, what kind of a business I'm going to start. Okay, restaurant, but what kind of restaurant? Is it going to be a fast food restaurant? It's going to be what cuisine you will serve? Indian cuisine, Italian? So all those things need to be answered before you develop a detailed strategy and come to this level, right? Okay, so we move on. So this part, I call it as a balanced scorecard. Because it is a scorecard, I put the word scorecard, and because it is balanced, I call it as balanced. Why it is balanced? Because it's not looking at only the financial measures, as we saw in the beginning of when we started this example. It is not only looking at financial measures, it's also looking at the customer, it's also looking at internal processes measures it's also looking at your employees, or I call it learning and growth perspective. That's a standard name given by the developer of these frameworks. So because it's looking at the learning and growth perspective of employees. So I call that. So it's a balanced scorecard because it's looking at the 4 major elements of your business. It's looking at the people and resources. It's looking at the systems and processes in internal perspective. It's looking at customers. It's also looking at the financials, the owners of the business. So that is why it is called balanced scorecard. Generally, most of the businesses who are not aware of this, and especially the small businesses, they will be just tracking their financial measure that, okay, how much every day they are making, or every month for that matter. Okay, so this is the example. So what solution we have is develop your business strategy based on your business. You need to be very specific. This strategy, whatever you are developing, it should suit your business because each business is unique. It has got different work conditions. It has got different market conditions. The employees are different. Owners are different. So each business actually is unique in that sense. So you need to develop a business strategy based on your business. Make a 1-page representation using a strategy map. As we could see, the strategy map in 1 page, I could explain the whole strategy, how I'm going to achieve my business objectives. Of course, further detailing is required. There will be additional information available for each of the measures and each of the objectives, how you're going to do it, and for improvement into those your internal processes and learning and growth perspective. You need to have some kind of initiatives or improvement plans. So all those things will be there. But in a nutshell, you are able to explain the whole strategy on one single page. So it can be communicated easily across the organization to everybody, all the employees. It can be tracked, and it becomes very easy for everybody to be aligned to the strategy, because now everybody understands the strategy. Everybody understands why it is important for me to serve a customer on time. So the why is answered. You go again backward and then you relate that, okay, the how part now we have developed. Again, the why part is there with us. So everybody knows that why part. And then that's how you get employee engaged. They know the reason why they are doing what they are doing. Otherwise, they don't know. They are just doing because they are getting paid. But now there is an emotional connection with what they are doing.
And that's very important.
And that's very important. That's what we talk about employee engagement. A lot of things are said about employee engagement and all those kind of. And then implement your strategy using balances scorecard. So what you have is you have a strategy map and you have a balances scorecard. So it's one single package. You develop the strategy map, you have those objectives, and put a measurement system for measuring those objectives, that how you are performing on that. So that's the whole thing about the balance scorecard. And quickly, if you permit me, I think we are already there.
Yeah, I
So
think what we will do
yes,
is, sir, we will, if you think it's very important for the chain of thought that you have at this very moment, we will take it. And for the viewers, you in our WhatsApp group, you can send I need balance scorecard book. There are giveaways that we have. There is an ebook. It's an ebook, right, sir? It's an ebook that we
yeah,
are
it's
giving.
an ebook. Yes, that I have shared, I think.
We will share that in our WhatsApp group. If you're on LinkedIn, you can just say, I need the book, and we will send you by message. And you just need to say, I need the book. And we'll be more than happy to share you the book, the ebook, which is about, it's more or less like a handbook, strategy management handbook, and you can read through it and, of course, implement in your organization. Sir, please continue.
Okay. So I'll just stop at this slide, but maybe I'll give you some further perspective on these 4 perspectives we talked about. So financial, if you look at this, we know now we have 4 perspectives. So we have financial perspective, customers, internal business process, and learning and growth. And each one is addressing the stakeholders, different stakeholders. So financial is the owners of the businesses are represented by the financial perspective. And it answers the question, how do we generate value for our shareholders? So it looks after shareholders. And if you look at on the left hand side, you have customers perspective. So customers and other stakeholders are represented by the customer perspective. And it answers the question, how do we create value for our customers? And what benefits do we need to provide to get the financial results, right? And on the right hand side, we talk about the internal business processes, and these relate to the managers and process owners, and they have to run these internal business processes. So it answers the question, to satisfy these customers, what processes we must excel at. We should be doing exceedingly well to satisfy my customer requirements. And learning and growth perspective is looking at the infrastructure and employees. This is basically is capacity, actually. And it is represented by learning and growth perspective, where I am looking at my systems and processes related to IT and human resources. I'm looking at capability of my employees. I'm looking at the engagement and satisfaction level of my employees, retraining them, and recruiting new staff and then training them. And this is like an ongoing process. So learning and growth perspective looks after the employees and the infrastructure. So this is how the 4 perspectives actually addresses let's say 99% of or 90% of the business objectives. Of course, now we also have health and safety has been there already, but now we have ESG requirement, environment, sustainability, and governance. Those things, there are further improvements are done to balances scorecard, and those perspectives can also be part of the balances scorecard. But primarily, it looks at the business and these four sets of what you call it, the stakeholders. So you have shareholders, you have customers, you have the managers and process owners, and then you have employees. So thank you very much. I hope, of course, I was trying to be fast because the time constraint. But you got some idea about the balances scorecard and how it can be a very intuitive and simple framework to use to develop and implement your strategy and communicate it to across the organization.
So,
all right, Vishal, over to you.
Okay, so we, as far as Mr. Gopal, he's an author of a book, and that you can see on your screen is the one that it's called Mastering Strategic Excellence, Your Success Guide to Growth and Profitability Using. It's going to be out and about in a couple of weeks perhaps, and I'm pretty sure, and that's another reason when I spoke to Mr. Gopal and I said, sir, let's collaborate and let's take the knowledge out and let's give it to the people out, and he graciously agreed for it. Thank you very much for that, sir. I cannot thank you enough, and I'm pretty sure people who are online at the moment on LinkedIn and are on Zoom as well. If you want to have a look at if you want to get the ebook, it's not this book that Mr. Gopal has written, but it's the ebook that we have for you. It's a giveaway in our chat box of LinkedIn. You can type it now, I want the book, or in the Zoom's chat box also you can do it, or in our WhatsApp group. So how do you get to our WhatsApp group? At the end of this session, you will see a screen scrolling with all the names and everything. On the bottom right, you will see there will be a QR code. You're more than welcome to join over there and get to us. We discuss a lot of, though our book club is called Fire Book Club, we discuss everything. We discuss business, we discuss health and safety, we discuss everything, whatever we can discuss. It's an open, it's a book club. With that, thank you everyone. Thank you for spending time for your personal learning and enhancement. Up until next week. Oh, next week we might not be joining in because it's going to be the festival of Diwali, and we will keep you posted on our WhatsApp group. Most probably, 99.99%, I'm pretty sure we will not be able to join. We will not be doing this. But what we can do is we can play the recording of the previous sessions on LinkedIn and of course on our YouTube, so you can just refresh yourself. We want to make sure that your commitment of that 30 minutes, which is a part of the book club, where we say that we should spend that much of time at least for our personal learning. With that, thank you very much for joining in today. Up until next week or the next week, take very good care of yourself. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Vishal.